Hello everyone, welcome you all to today's topic, that is a photograph written by SHIRLEY TOULSON of your second chapter. That is a beautiful poem written by SHIRLEY TOULSON, a photograph. Now let us know about the author. SHIRLEY TOULSON was born on 20th May 1924 in England. A writer, editor, came under influence of Celtic Christianity. Toulson, in poem Photograph, describes the emotions felt as she remembered the story behind the image and what it means to the poet. My dear student, don't you think this story is somewhat related to the first chapter, A Portrait of a Lady? A portrait means what? An image, right? A character. Here again the topic is a photograph. What comes to your mind when I say a photograph? Isn't it telling us that it's all about a person where the author is trying to see that photograph and has composed this poem? Now let us know more about this poem. The poem A Photograph is written by SHIRLEY TOULSON. In this poem, she recalls her mother, again the same thing, and her memories while looking at a childhood photograph. So here the author is trying to remember the memories while looking at a photograph which is there in front of her. So she's trying to look the childhood image of her mother when she was 12 years old. She has been deceased. Deceased means dead. 12 years ago, and she cannot explain her grief on her mother's loss. Definitely, mother is always a beautiful figure in our life, a beautiful gift in our life. The memory, the things, whatever we do with her cannot be substitute, right? So her memory will be always as a memory. No one can abolish it from your mind. So here the author or the writer, she's watching, she's observing the photo frame of that cardboard, and she's trying to recall about the memories that she spent with her mother. Right? I hope this is clear to you all. Now let us move to the next slide. The poem is a tribute to the poet's mother. She is looking at an old photograph of her. Who is she? The writer. Mother, which has a frame of cardboard. So this is describing about the photo frame. It's made up of cardboard and the photo is fixed there, and she's staring at it and she's thinking about the childhood memory. The picture has three girls in which the middle one is the oldest and tallest. That means in that particular image, there are three girls and they are cousin to each other, and the middle one is the oldest and tallest. Do you know who is that? That oldest, or we can say the tallest girl in that photo frame, is the mother of this author. So it is her mother when she was 12 years old or so. So here, my dear student, this picture which was taken long back, at the age of 12, when mother was 12 years old, she took this photograph or the snapshot, we can say, which right now the writer is staring for a long time. So it is her mother when she was 12 years old and so. And beside her, on both the sides, are her two cousins. As I told you that there were three girls on that photo frame, and the middle one, the oldest and tallest, was the writer's mother, and the two who were standing beside that lady or that small little girl were two cousins. And what was the name? Betty and Dolly. So, who are holding her hands and are younger than her? Definitely, because she is the older and tallest one among the two, and they two are holding each other's hand. And their names are Betty and Dolly. So, they went for pedaling on a beach holiday. So, what is this pedaling? Means walking. They went for a walk, and it was a holiday where to the beach. Her uncle took the photograph then, and the poet could not help but notice her mother's sweet face. Why she can't help? Because she is no more. Only option is left that she can stare at that photograph and she can remember or recall the memories that she spent with her mother. So in the beach, who is taking the photograph? Uncle. Now, they went for pedaling on a beach holiday. Her uncle took the photograph then. The poet could not help but notice her mother's sweet face. The sea touched her terribly transient feet, which depicted that she changed over the years and the sea remained the same. Definitely, this transient fit means, my dear student, it's for a temporary moment because that small little three girls will definitely grow up, right? So the sea remained the same, but this feet grew up. After 20 to 30 years, her mother would laugh at the photographs. She would make the poet look at the photograph and tell her how their parents would dress them up for the beach holiday. So here the mother and the child or the daughter is talking to each other where the mother is saying that, my dear daughter, look at the photo frame. See our dressing sense. See the attire that we are wearing. It is the attire which our parents used to dress up when they go for a holiday to the beach. So the beach holiday was her mother's favorite past memories, while her laugh was the poet's favorite memory. So while conversation between the daughter and mother, the poet used to observe mother's face, and while sharing all this event, there was a beautiful charm, there was a beautiful smile on the mother's face, and that was a beautiful moment for the writer or the daughter. But mother's favorite pastime was that memory, going to the beach for a holiday. Both of them lost something which they cherished a lot and yet cannot leave that moment again. Definitely, moments are always moment, my dear students. So never ever spare a single moment in doing wrong thing. Always try to gather memories which can be recalled when you are lonely, and you can have peace by remembering that particular moment. Now, those sweet moments were memories now. Now, the poet's mother had been dead for the past 12 years, which is the same number as of her age when the photograph was taken back then. So now the writer is 12-year-old, but mother is already dead, and she's saying that I am the same age right now when at this age my mother took a photograph or a snapshot by uncle. And she cannot express the grief that she has for her mother's absence. No one can explain that because, as I told you, mother cannot be substituted by any other thing. Now, the first line in your book, you can take out your book and see the first line. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went pedaling, each one holding one of my mother's hand. And she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. Here, as I told you, pedaling means walking, and this line number 1 to 4 says that. So in this line, the poet is looking at an old photo album which is made up of cardboard. In the picture, there are three girls who are walking on the beach holding each other's hands, and the girl in the middle is the tallest and oldest, and the other two girls on each side are younger than her. And the girl in the middle is the poet's mother. and she is around 12 years old when the picture was taken. My dear student, as I told you, the daughter or the writer is staring at that photograph, and she's trying to recall the memories that she spent with the mother. And here in this photograph or the frame, there are three girls where two are cousins to each other, and the middle one is the writer's mother, and the rest of the two, their names are Betty and Dolly. Now, all three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera, a sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Now, this paragraph says that the poet describes how the photograph was taken, and her mother, uncle, took the photograph and told them to stop and pose. And all three of them left their wet hair open and smiled at the camera. And the poet's attention is drawn towards his mother's face, which is described as a sweet face. So here the three of the girl, they are with their open wet hair. Obviously they went to a beach. They will have bath there. So their body, their hair is already wet. So with the loose wet hair, they are standing still to take a photograph. And this poet is trying to see that particular face, mother's face, sweet smile. The photograph was taken long before the poet was born, and the poet calls their feet terribly transient, as they were so young by then and now they had grown older. So as I told you that they are grown, but the sea remains the same. Now let us move to the line number 10 to 13. You can see, so here this particular line says that after 20 to 30 years later, she would laugh at the photograph and she would tell me to look at her cousin Betty and Dolly and how their parents would dress up all for the beach and how they plan beforehand to take a photograph. So definitely, even we people, wherever we go, we are pre-planned. We used to take the camera or we used to hold our telephone, right, for taking photographs and all. And here the daughter, the mother and daughter is trying to have conversation and sharing that how they were attired, okay. So here again, line number 14 to 15, my dear student, keep on looking at your book, right? So here you can see some meanings are also there. So here in this line number 14 to 15, the poet recalls the sea holiday was her mother's favorite moment from the past. While the poet's favorite moment was what? Mother's laughter while saying all that or while sharing that particular holiday time. And both the women would think about those past memories which they cannot leave again. And they tried their best to adjust what they lost. So as I told you, my dear students, memories are always memory. Don't miss any of your moment. Try to have fun in each and every moment. Try to live in that particular moment, because this moment becomes a memory one day or the other, right? Now let us move to the next line, that is line number 16 to 19. Now she's been dead nearly as many years. So this stanza says that mother died 12 years ago, and the same age her mother was in the photograph. Whenever the poet thinks of her mother's death, she cannot explain what effect she has of her mother's death. And death has silenced her mother, which has also left her speechless. Can we write something like that? No. We will also definitely be speechless, right? Similarly, here this daughter is also speechless. Now this is all about the poem. So my dear students, this is all about the poem and the stanzas. I hope the concept is clear to you all. And before winding up, let me tell you this poem is filled with figurative languages, my dear student. As in grammar, we have figure of speech like noun, pronoun, adjective, right? Similarly, here in figurative language in this poem, we have lot of things. Now look at your screen. That is alteration. What is this alteration? What comes to your mind when I say alteration? Do you have any idea about this? So alteration means occurrence of same letter or sound. We can say repetition of a consonant sound at the beginning of two or more consecutive words. Consecutive words means following each other or expressing consequence or results like stood still, through there, my mother's, terribly transient, silence, silence. Right? So these are all following each other. Stood still, through there, my mother's, terribly transient, silence, silences. So these are all consecutive words, right? And there is repetition of the same letter or sound. Now, after alteration, we can see one more word or one more figurative language is used, that is oxymoron. What is this oxymoron? Now let us know what exactly this word is. So it's a term which contradicts itself, right? What is that? A term which contradicts itself. For example, seriously funny. Here, seriously and funny is contradicting each other. Like less is more. Again, less and more. Clearly confused. Again, the word clearly as well as confused. So, this is all contradictory words. This is called oxymoron. Now, the last word or the last figurative language that is used in this poem is epithet. What is this epithet? My dear student, epithet is nothing but it's an adjective you can say, or phrase, or we can say expressing a quality of a person or something, or we can say attribute regarded as characteristic of the person mentioned. So here the example in the poem is terribly transient. So I hope this poem is clear to you all. I hope you all will read it out. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you.